You're listening to another episode here at Wholesaling Inc. My name is Cody Hofhine. I'll be hosting today's episode, and today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Dean Graziosi, and I'm super excited to have him on the podcast. This has been something I've looked forward to for so long, and I just look up to you in so many ways, Dean. And I look at your success as being a multiple times New York Times best-selling author. Your newest book, Millionaire Success Habits, is just going like crazy. Over 500,000 copies.
Yeah, it's on fire.
Like this is going to be, I think, and you probably think, one of your best books that's just going to sell
it's on its way to
a
a million copies. Yeah.
It's awesome. This is good stuff, and you're probably one of the most sought-after influencers right now in real estate and in self-development. And so, what an honor to be here.
Well, it's good to have you, man.
I'm excited.
I have to tell you, right now my schedule is insane, right? But I have to tell you, I love making time for this because it takes people like you, Cody, and people doing it right to extract the knowledge that you have and give it to people so they can go faster. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but this is just, I'm always emotional about what I'm excited about. And what I'm excited about right now is the fact that the current education system is broken. And it doesn't matter if you're going through it or you were through it 20 years ago or 40 years ago. It just has changed, and it's not to be critical, it's just sometimes things break, right?
That's true.
Taxis used to be good, now there's Uber. There used to be Blockbuster, and now there's Amazon, right? And now there's iTunes, right? So the world has just changed, but we have the same education system we had during the Industrial Revolution, and now we're in the information age.
Right.
And what people are realizing is that going to school, and here's a crazy stat, that only 27% of people who get a degree actually use it in their job. And out of that 27%, only 48% actually like, 52% hate the job they're in. Oh. So it's like almost 80% of the people don't use it or they dislike it. And what people are realizing, why I'm giving you kudos, is that you could go the traditional route.
Sure.
And if you went to school, great. If you're in school, great. But what supplements that allows you to go faster is actually learn from someone who's already been there and get it done quicker. Right?
So
we don't need to learn like the reason that right now colleges are struggling, they've gone up 8 times in cost while jobs are flat, is because people are realizing they don't need the entry level skill. They don't need to take accounting if they want to be in marketing. They realize I could just learn from the best marketer. If I want to learn real estate, I don't need a business degree. I just follow Dean Graziosi or follow Cody. I'll just do what he did. Right. So people are learning that they can leapfrog all the BS and get there quicker by learning from people who've already been there. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because when I was a kid, my guidance counselor basically said, "Oh my God, you're not taking your SATs, you're not going to school." Okay, you could get a great minimum wage job at the only factory in this little town, or maybe you could work with your dad and work on cars. Like, there was nothing in between. It was like, no college, okay, a life of despair. And I'm passionate about what you do and what other people do in this space. And I don't mean an influencer meaning because you just have 1 million followers. Sure. I mean an influencer is someone who's extracting their knowledge, creating it in a process, and giving it to people so they can go faster. That's my definition of an influencer. I wish my guidance counselor would have said, college is one route, maybe get a job at a factory is one route, but then there's this third route. You could model other people who are doing it. Oh, like no one's ever said that.
So true.
And I'll talk about this later. Me and my buddy Tony Robbins, like we've been in this together, this space for over 62 years combined. Yeah. It's like we want to yell from mountaintops. Yes, I want to talk about real estate. Yes, I want to talk about business today. But we also want to yell from mountaintops that self-education needs to be the new norm. That's the shift we're in. Yeah. This is going from Blockbuster to iTunes. It's old, antiquated Industrial Revolution education to a newer process. It's time for the shift, and I don't think there's any people that could, yell that louder than the two of us. So anyway,
and Tony's voice gets going. No, this is good stuff. So you're already playing this perfect. Like I can feed off of what you just said because I'm thinking of our students. There's so many that come to getting into wholesaling, their first taste of like real estate or some kind of entrepreneurship, and they're just getting involved and there's still those golden handcuffs or corporate America kind of hold them back. What do you feel like the key or the success principle that would help them understand that, yes, it might be tough. Yes, it might be scary, but you can do this.
Yeah, so a couple of things. First off, I remember, again, so many people were watching were way more successful than I was, way smarter than I was. I scraped by to get out of high school. I mean, my last year of school was like ceramics, gym, and math. You know what I mean? And I was out.
But your background is incredible. You come from like not having riches, not having a lot of money. And so I'm sitting here just amazed that you are who you are today because you didn't really have the influence to just push you that direction.
Yeah, one thing that, and I want to get back to that question. So,
yes.
So bring that question back, the thing that's holding people back. But,
yes.
But I want to share, I don't want to share this to say, oh, poor me. Like everything that happened in my life was designed by a higher power. Like that was the path I was supposed to be on. God was said, hey, let him go through that because at the end he'll be this.
Tony says it happens for us.
It happens for us, right? So that's my journey. I wouldn't take back any of it. But when I was a kid, I watched both my parents. They split when I was 3, but I watched both of them work really hard. My dad worked like hard in cars and changing engines and like would work late. And my mom would work 3 jobs to make $90 a week. She cleaned houses, she cut hair, she did miscellaneous stuff. Both of them worked hard, but man, Cody, it didn't equate to happiness. It didn't equate to income. I lived in a trailer park with my mom until we couldn't afford it anymore, and we had to move out of it. I lived literally in a bathroom with my dad for a while when he couldn't afford to put heat in the rest of the house. He was remodeling the house he was in. There was no place, so we literally slept in a bathroom for about 6 months. Jeez. So, but all those things were my journey. I didn't even know it was a big deal back then. My whole point is I learned at a young age that hard work didn't equate to happiness and success, and I knew I had to find another path.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was blessed. Like I don't know what drove me to that because I just didn't want to be like my parents. I just didn't. I love them, respect them. I want to take their hearts, but I don't want to take the life they had.
Sure.
And I was smart enough to realize I had to search out people that had already been there. And listen, I'm looking back in retrospect. I wasn't 18 going, okay, who are the 14 people that I must find? And like, it wasn't that. I was just like, this sucks. They look like they're doing better. I'm going to do what they do and not what they do. Yeah, right? Yeah. And I just learned to do more and more of that and got involved in Tony Robbins changed my life. 20-something years ago, I gave him money. He gave me knowledge. It changed my life. Yeah. That's why I'm such an advocate. It's why when I have a product I like, I will sell hard because I can't change people's lives unless I get something in their hand. That's right. Like my book, if you know anything about me, you see my book on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all over Amazon, like everywhere because I can only change your life if you read my book or attend a mastermind or get a course I have, right? So when I see what you do, it's like push because if you're watching us right now, what you're currently doing is not serving your full potential. It's not lighting you up. So anyway, I can digress. I get excited.
No, this is exciting. Let's get you back to where we're going. Yeah, what gets them over that hump? What holds them back?
So here's a great story. And I always like talking about, again, what's going on in my life. So I have a daughter that's 12, a son that's 10, right? You have kids?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I have 2. Greatest thing in the history of the world, right? Like
amazing.
Nothing compares.
Take all my money. Love, kindness,
I'm a better man because of them,
That's
right?
True.
Kids don't become who you tell them to be; they become who you are. So I have to step up my game, right?
That's right.
So probably like you, I'm teaching my kids nonstop. My daughter's always like, "Dad, you can make a lesson out of anything." If I say, "Look at the pretty flower," like, "Oh," like she always makes fun of me, right? She's like, there doesn't have to be a lesson in everything, but I'm always trying to teach them this whole philosophy. I said, if you guys want to go to college, you can. But what I'd rather, I'm just telling you what I tell my kids, I'd rather you take a year off, right? So we're not Mormons, so they're not going to go on a mission. Yeah. But I want that same thing in their life. Like I want like a year of not just goofing off, a year of really deciding what you feel like you could do for the rest of your life. I've changed my career a bunch of times, but I want to get them close. And if they said, my daughter say she wants to be an interior decorator, I'm like, okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to find the best interior decorator on the planet, and you're going to go work for them for a year for free, and you're going to work harder and better. You're going to be the best employee, and you're going to be free. Yeah. And when you're done, you're going to take their 20, 30 years of knowledge, and you're going to have it in 1 year, and you're going to start off where she left off. Like, that's what I preach to them nonstop. So perfect. So I'm always teaching, like, I just have to be honest, like, I picked them up from school. I have half time. I give them 50-50, right? So there's maybe 99% of the time when they're off school at 2:30, there's nothing that can stop me. I'm there outside the school waiting for them, right? And I always tell them, I'm like, be honest with you guys, if you work for someone else, you won't have this option. You're not gonna be able to take 2 weeks off in the summer. I coach Little League, I coach softball, I help out, I do all this. Like, you can't do that if someone else runs your time. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad. That's the way I live. I was never in control as a kid. My parents, I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. So I was never in control. So I'm a little obsessive. I don't want anybody to tell me how to dress, what to wear, how to look, how to talk, where to live, how to raise my children. Like, I need freedom from that, right? So I share this because I teach my daughter to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But so many times she's like, Dad, I probably want to go to college. And she's a pitcher, softball pitcher. I'll pitch and then I'll come work with you. And I don't want to work for you. I want to work with you. I'm like, okay. So listen, so I never go away. And this story is going to loop back around. I never go away more than like 3 days if I can help it. Sure. I don't care if I got to fly private, got to take a red eye. I don't want to be away from my kids more than 3 days. If it's my day, I want to be with them.
Solid.
But I had to go away for 6 days. I went to Puerto Rico and mastermind with some great friends of mine, some people you know,
yep.
Lewis Howes and Brendan Bouchard and Rachel Hollis and Tom Bilyeu and Anthony Trucks, all these great influencers, people making an impact on the world. I couldn't miss
Absolutely.
it. Then I had to jump on a plane, fly to California. I did a whole round of podcasts and interviews. And anyway, I digress. So I'm gone for
But you're
6 days.
busy. That's the whole point. You're busy.
So I'm gone for 6 days. I come back. My daughter has had dry lips for like 3 months, like just really dry. So she goes online and she Googles this homemade recipe of like olive oil and sugar. It's like an exfoliant and like 3 other ingredients. And she makes this exfoliant for her lips. And it works so good, she convinces her and her friend to go in the business, and they come up with this business name called Scruffy Lips. And they make batches. They built an Instagram page. They tell all their friends. I'm not kidding. By the time I come home, she's in the business called Scruffy Lips. They're already making it. They got little labels. They're putting it in little containers. They already sold 50 of them. And this weekend, they found a tea shop that they go to with their mom and convinced the girl to put a booth up to sell Scruffy Lips. They came up with like 7 different flavors. This weekend, they did $400 in sales.
That's so awesome. This is 10-year-old?
12.
12-year-old.
12 and her friend's 13.
Oh, this is so
They're
awesome.
at over $500 in sales
Yep.
right now. They got a Venmo account. They got a Venmo account, so people are paying them by Venmo. Figured it out on their own. They got graphic design on their phone, and they made a logo. They went to, their mom brought them to the UPS store, and they printed out the logo and put it on stickers and stuck it on the bag, right? So what the hell does that have to do with that question and you at home? Do you know why they went into business? Because life didn't tell them no enough yet. They came up with the concept, it worked for my daughter, and she just decided to do it. She didn't overanalyze. She didn't ask 30 of her friends like we do as adults, hey, do you think I should go into this business? No, not with this present, not with this timing. No, you don't know marketing. Oh, you don't know sales. Oh, the real estate market's gonna crash. Oh, that's the right time. Okay, maybe I'll sit and do nothing. I'll stick in this job that's killing me, right? She didn't do that. She didn't do all the stuff that we do as adults. She didn't overanalyze.
Sure.
Is this the right timing? What if I quit my job? What if I go broke? I can't pay the mortgage. Can't put the kids through I'll just stay. I hate my life, but I'll stay. Like, let's take a lesson from a 12-year-old. There's a lot of different answers I could give to that question. But right now, on my heart is my daughter is 12. She was naive enough to just believe she could do it. And what she did is she modeled what was working. The same thing here. If someone's going to work with you, Cody, it's like you have to have the faith to know this guy did it. I've done it. If like you have to have the courage to jump out of the plane and grow wings on their way down and trust the capabilities you learn from somebody else. Here's a hard realization. Your best thinking, your best capabilities got you to where you are right now. Yeah. And unless you get new thinking or next level capabilities, just plan on staying where you are forever. If that's what you're excited about, cool. I'm not trying to be rude, but just accept it. Because so many times what people do with the same capabilities, it's like running on a treadmill and you're hoping to go 3 miles down the road. You're running fast and you're still not moving. You're like, damn it, I'm done. Let me put it up to 6. And you're going, let me put it up to 10. You're on 12. It's like, why can't I go anyplace? Because you're just running in space, running in the same place with the same capabilities and the same thinking. Sure. You want to go faster, you need to gain new capabilities. You need to gain new thinking. You cut a check to go faster. People will cut a check for college and then they'll ignore the opportunity to be a part of a group, a community, a mastermind. Sure. It's crazy to me. So that's going back to some of the things Tony and I are obsessed on.
This story about your daughter blows my mind. This is exactly what I'm looking at as me being a father of now a 10, 8, 5, and 2-year-old.
Wow.
I just sit there and I look at them like, how do I keep helping these individuals open their minds up and not say no to things? I even told my wife, I'm like, my boy asks me for pay for college, I'm be like, nope. But if he says, Dad, help me with this startup, I'm be like,
yes,
let's do it, baby. Let's go, like all in.
Yeah.
What got you into real estate? Of all the vehicles out there, what got you into real estate, and more so, what got you into like wholesaling?
Yeah. So one last thing.
Because you've done a lot of these things.
Keep that. And I just want to share one thing. My daughter will wait till Sunday nights so many times to do her homework. My daughter's room is only clean half the time, and it frustrates me. She's a BC student. The only reason I'm sharing that is because I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, my daughter's perfect. She's the daughter of Dean Graziosi. Like, man, she is around this stuff all the time and she still screws up.
Yeah.
But she's still, like, that's all of us though. None of us are perfect.
That's
but the
life.
people who succeed are the ones that literally get in the game.
Yeah.
Like the Theodore Roosevelt quote, "Man in the arena." If you never saw it, it's like, don't judge from the sidelines. Don't wear someone else's name on the back of your journey. Get in the game. Get bloody and marred and figure it out. It's the only way.
And it's going to be tough. You're going to make mistakes.
Of course, but it's the only way you can win the game of life is to be in the game. And just, stop thinking. So how did I get into real estate? I'd love to say I went to a mountaintop and meditated and prayed. No, I hated being a broke kid. My dad dabbled in real estate, had some hit and misses. But I realized in my little town, the only people that were successful, at least in my opinion, only 6,000 people in my town, were those that were in real estate. There was 2 guys that were doing amazing, and they were in real estate. And I heard that you could do it with no money down, and just like my daughter with Scuffed Lips.
Yeah.
I just said, oh, if you could do it no money down, I'm just gonna do that. I was 17, I got my first real estate deal. I knocked on 1 million doors. I had an amazing woman give me a deal with no money down. She believed in my heart. She let me take this place over and pay her by the month, and gave me a balloon payment where I could pay her in 2 years, and that deal led into another deal, Then I got a whole bunch of credit cards. I didn't know wholesaling when I first started, right? So I just thought I had to buy. So I applied for like 20 different credit cards all at the same time so they couldn't see each other. And then I got them all back, like $5,000, $10,000, $3,000. So I had like 80 grand on credit cards. So I used credit cards to do deals and fund the rehabs. And then I went into buying raw land, subdividing it. And then I started selling lots. I'm like, well, why just sell the lot? Why don't I build a house
develop it.
So then I started building the houses, and then I bought bulldozers and backhoes, and at the same time I had a collision shop, an auto sales, then I bought a tow truck, then 2 tow trucks, then 3 tow trucks, then I had a tow truck company. And then I bought Tony Robbins' course. It really helped me shift my mindset. Like it was like a foreign language. Like my parents didn't think this way. It was whole next level, and that elevated me to another level. And then because I bought an infomercial off of Tony, I'll talk about them. I decided in 1998 to build a course and shoot an infomercial. So that's how I got in that space. But before that, real estate was the thing that freed me. Like I became a millionaire in my 20s because of real estate. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that's the path I led. And then when the economy turned, I figured out ways of, I didn't even know wholesaling existed. And then I was calling it selling on contract. That's what I didn't know the term wholesaling. I was just selling on contract. And then when the economy was getting ready to turn in 2006, it's not, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. The real estate market has turned right now. Most people don't realize it, but it's shifted. I knew this was here in 2006, and everybody was on fire. And I'm like, I got to write a book to teach people about wholesaling so they can profit on the way down. Because you don't want to buy and hold on the way down unless you steal it. And the cash flow is good. You don't want to fix and flip unless you absolutely steal it. You don't want to hold a house for 5 months on the way down if you didn't get a great deal. So I'm like, man, how do you protect people? And I was already in this education space, and there was Russ Whitney. There was, God, who's the no money down?
Carlton Sheets.
There was Carlton Sheets. There was Dynatech.
Robert Allen. I don't know if he was back there.
There was all those guys. There was all the infomercials. I was one of them. The market shifts, and I shift my entire message. I wrote a book called Be a Real Estate Millionaire. I talk about understanding the markets and using wholesaling on the way down, matching buyers and sellers. And I didn't invent wholesaling. It's been around forever. But I made wholesaling cool because when that market shifted, I took over the whole industry. When we started, we were a $10 million a year company. By the time we got to the bottom, we were a $150 million a year company. All of them were out of business. Russ Whitney was gone. Carlton Sheets was gone.
You don't hear him anymore.
Robert Allen was gone. Dynatech was gone. Russ Whitney was gone. And all that business was mine. There was nobody else there. I sold 1 million copies of that book.
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes. So we made wholesaling cool. Like we let the world know wholesaling was a thing. Right? And there was before,
and a way to make money.
And that was before the internet was huge, right? So I mean, it was there, but it wasn't at the level it is now. And it helped forge the path, and I love it because it helps people understand it, and amazing people like you have gone on, done it yourself, and now you're sharing it. So that's how I've had the real estate evolution, and how I went from real estate to infomercials. Simply, I saw Tony on an infomercial, Tony Robbins. He took my money. He gave me information. I went faster. I'm like, I want to be in that business. I want to be in the business of taking someone's money, giving them information, and help them go faster.
Grow, be better individuals. So I think of your whole life, your whole journey is giving And the byproduct is, yes, you're going to get paid for it. But you truly have a heart to just serve these individuals, love these individuals, give more in value than you ever charge in price.
Right.
What does it mean? Like, now that you're doing all this stuff, one of the questions that I always want to make sure our students are doing, not just taking the action to go out and knock on doors or send out postcards, but to also be self-educated, to get just grow personally. What does it mean to be self-educated? What does that whole topic do for you?
Yeah, so somebody I pay, so Dan Sullivan owns a company called Strategic Coach.
Yeah.
And I'm in his highest level group. It's $50,000 a year,
Yep.
right? So I pay him to give me capabilities to go faster.
Yep.
Because he has a unique core competency different than mine. When it comes to marketing, sales, real estate, and educating, I got that covered.
You got it.
Marketing, persuasion, all that. But running, KPIs, standing operating procedures, hiring, that stuff's it feels so heavy. That's not my thing, right?
Sure.
But I go to Dan Sullivan, and I go every quarter. I've been going for over 10 years to learn new capabilities from someone who's been teaching entrepreneurs for 35 years. So he had a great simple question, a great simple analogy. He said he's coached so many people from millionaires to billionaires. And he said the billionaires I see that just do it with class, do it without the stress, do it without the worry. They still have a good family life. They still are a good parent. They still are a good husband or a good wife, and they're part of their community, not the ones stressed out, ready for a nervous breakdown. He said they had a different terminology about one thing. When they wanted to learn how to do something, they didn't ask how. They asked who. And that how versus who is really, before I heard that, is what's changed my life. Because think about this. If I was talking to you at home right now and you're listening or wherever you are, and I said, hey, a great way to make money is to get to 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? And you say, man, how do I do that? Do I post every day? Do I post on the board? Do I post 3 or 4 times a day? And what do I say? And what colors do I use? And what fonts do I use? And if I do a video, do I transcribe it? Do I put the little letters? I've seen people do that. Do I do a banner or no banner? And what do I put in the bio? And then what about the stories? Do I go live on my stories? Do I go live every day, or just do I do a story? Should the story be 15 seconds, or should I use, that cut story and go 2 minutes and then cut it up? And then do I put a label on it? And what kind of font should I use? You start doing all this, and then how do I get people to it? And then if I do have 100,000 people, how do I actually monetize that? How does money come from that? And then, oh my God, who's going to answer all the DMs? Do I answer the DMs, or do I have someone in my office? All of a sudden, so what you do, the complexity grows so much that you go, oh, screw that. I'm not going to do it.
Complexity is the enemy of all
execution.
Execution.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if you think about that, what self-education means to me is when I want to go to another level, I don't ask how, I ask who. Who's already accomplished that, and how can I pay them
so true
to extract their knowledge so I can go faster? People always want to know, Dean, how I've stayed relevant for 21 years. You know this space. People come and go in this space. Tony, people come and go. He doesn't. 42 years, relevant, in your face. I got 22 years, relevant, in your face. It's because we are obsessive learners of self-education.
Yeah.
When Tony wants to get healthier, he finds someone who's amazing at the exact thing he wants to get healthier. He's having gut problems, he finds the best gut health guy on the planet and goes
pays him.
And either pays him or researches and read books. You don't have to have connections to do that. You just have to be smart enough to stop saying how, stop trying to learn through your own trial and error. It's so silly when someone's already done it, when someone's already been there, and so there's 2 things, let's take real estate, for example. You want to wholesale in real estate. You could go figure it out. There's nobody watching right now that I'm smarter than. You could figure it out, but it could take you 6 months, could take you a year, could take you 2. You could fail miserably. You could try to figure out the marketing, or you can cut a check, save time, effort, and energy, and go faster by learning from Cody or other people with great courses on how to go faster, right? So it's just a different mindset. It's like people keep hitting their thumb with a hammer, and it hurts. It's like you have to stop hitting your thumb.
Yeah.
You have to find a new way to get the nail in there. Just quit what you're doing. It's not working, and find someone who's doing it. Now, I don't mean to oversimplify it, but there's 2 ways, this whole self-education world. And the way I feel, and what Tony and I have obsessed on now for last year, and we're doing a special training. I'd love to tell your people about it here in a minute.
Yes, please.
But if you think about this, I truly believe the education system is broken. Flawed. It's
I agree with you
taxis.
100%.
It's Blockbuster. It's done. And what's going to replace it is self-education. And people wonder how to do it. And this is what Tony and I wondered. And the answer lives in, everybody listening or watching, it lives in your head.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a skill, an expertise, a hobby, or a passion that someone else needs. Like, I believe if you've been in if you're in a transition period, you were in a job for 40 years, and now you want to do real estate, that's great. But whatever you were in, you learned capabilities along the way that someone else is going to have to do. They're going to have to go through the same mistakes, have the same failures. You've already experienced it. You have so much knowledge in your head. So how do we fix the education system? We create a blueprint, a process to let everybody with a skill, a knowledge, an expertise, a passion, or a hobby in their head extract it, share it with people to make an impact in their lives, get paid, and change the world. Like, I know I've been on stages of 20,000 people, and I can say, who wants to make more money? It's mostly everybody.
Yeah.
Who wants to start a business? Mostly everybody. When I say who wants to make an impact, 100% of the people.
That's correct.
So what Tony and I want to show people is, how would you like to make an impact while at the same time tap into an industry? The self-education industry is $355 million a day. A day.
I remember hearing this from you, and that was like...
A day. And Forbes said that should triple in the next few years. So this is a wave of people going, oh, I see how to do this. I just cut Cody a check. He spent years figuring out wholesaling. Wow, I could just get what works.
Start where he's at.
Start where he's at, right? So people are realizing, and here's the cool part. Tony and I have geeked out. Yes, I'm in the real estate education space, the success space.
Yeah.
Tony's in the success, the personal growth space. But this is all over. It's people learning how to do fade haircuts. A guy's doing a workshop on the weekends. It's the guy that used to be a trainer getting $75 an hour. Now he runs a Zoom workshop once a month, and he's got 50 people paying him $100 each every Saturday to be on a call. It's self-education. It's like the people, so many people, even you watching, whatever it is you do, there's somebody willing to pay you.
Absolutely. And
with the right process, we can make it cool. We can make it the new norm to go, oh, I'm really good at XYZ. Yeah, I share it. I do a Zoom call. I built a community. I do a workshop. I do a mastermind. And you get paid for what you already know. And here's the cool part. You can also get paid for just being the reporter. So I was at an event last week. I'll share this with you. And this is passionate to me, so I hope you don't mind I'm talking about this.
This is fantastic.
Because I'm at a workshop the other day, or an event. There's a couple thousand people in the room. I said, hey, who in this room would pay me to do a real estate deal? And do a $5,000 weekend workshop, but I've never done a real estate deal in my life. Who would pay me? Not one person raised their hand. I said, okay, let me ask it again. I've never done a real estate deal, and I want to do a $5,000 weekend workshop. But I went on social media, and I found, through Instagram, 10 of the top real estate investors in America. And I DM'd them, and I got them on a call, and I interviewed them on their top 10 ways they make money in today's market. Well, I correlated all their information, and guess what I found? I found the 7 top ways of the most successful real estate investors in America, and I want to do a $5,000 workshop to share what those 7 are. Who would like to come? Whole audience. So if you're the expert, I think it's really amazing that you learn how to extract it, create a curriculum, and share it in the way you feel the most comfort. Right? Share it on a Zoom call, share it in person, share it at a workshop, build a community, build a group. If you're not the expert, then go be the reporter of other experts. It's something that lights you up, and share that knowledge so everybody can go faster. Because here's the way I look at it too. The world has changed so much that we don't, it was so difficult to do things like this in the past. So say you've been in something for 40 years and you got an expertise, a little tiny niche. People are doing it with haircuts, with teaching guys confidence, how to be a better photographer, how to be a better accountant, how to be martial arts. Everybody is doing this, and people are cutting checks for it, right? But just think if you're in something for 10, 20, 30 years, and you got this niche. You could write a book. I love books. I'm a multiple New York Times bestselling author. Books have transformed my life. But it's pretty difficult because you got to spend a year or two writing a book.
That's right.
And then about 95% of all books in Barnes & Noble haven't sold more than 1,000 copies. But today's world has changed. Your phone, I was looking for my phone, but your phone has become a radio studio, it's become a recording studio, a video studio, right?
An author,
an
a
author,
ghostwriter.
things, right? So here's the thing. You could write a book to share your knowledge.
Yeah.
Or you could do a monthly Zoom call and say you were an accountant for 40 years. You could say, hey, been an accountant 40 years. I know exactly wherever you are in the accounting phase, how'd you like to get there quicker? Start off where I left off. I'm doing a Zoom call this weekend to tell you how to get through recessions, because I've been through 2.
Yeah.
I'm doing a Zoom call. It's $50 each. You put 2,000 people, 1,000 people, 20 people, right? All of a sudden, instant impact on their lives, instant revenue to you. The world has changed. That's why this is the time to consider being a part of the information age, right? We're in the industrial age. This is the information age.
What's killer, and I learned this from you, and this would change my mind. I didn't even hear it. I feel like I'm a guy that's always growing, always trying to do better. And here you are telling people, well, work on your strengths. I didn't learn this until I read your Millionaire Success Habits, because I feel like I've always caught on, okay, I'm really weak at that. I really should learn this and really start to get this better so I have more things that are getting better and I'm getting better all the way around. And when I read your book, it's like, no, stop
that.
Stop working on what you suck at. Like, just go out there and work at what you're good at. And I'm like, done. Dean said it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, when you work on something you suck at, how do you feel? Do you feel a lot
You
of
don't feel.
you have a lot of
No,
confidence?
you lack confidence.
Right, and have you ever done anything good in your life when you had lack of confidence?
No.
Would you be
No.
married to your wife if your confidence was
No.
down? You wouldn't have asked her on
No.
the date, right? You wouldn't have, had the confidence to talk to her and look
Right.
her in the eye, right? Nothing works. Would you have gotten the sale? Have you ever made a sale when your confidence was down?
Absolutely
Have
not.
you ever got a house at a discount when your confidence is down?
Absolutely
Nothing
not.
works. So I protect my confidence. And one thing is, every time I work on something I suck at, my confidence goes down. So I'm not going to do it anymore. So stop doing it. Work on what you're good at. Make enough
right.
money to pay people to do the stuff you stink at.
So
Right?
good.
As simple as
So
that
good.
sounds, it's like that's the key.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So how do they learn more about this? If that was something, I mean, I know you were talking about how you wanted to share something with our audience.
Here's the cool thing. So Tony and I have been obsessing over this.
I love both of you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone loves both of you, by the way. That's why the two of you together blows my mind.
No, it's awesome. So Tony and I are doing a special. It's never been done before. He hasn't done something like this in over 10 years, but him and I are so tight. We've been geeking out over this. We're doing a special webcast training that we're going to share how, if you love the opportunity to make money in real estate, in whatever you do, but simultaneously, if you'd love to learn how to extract any skills or knowledge or passion or hobby you have and get paid for it, or you'd like to work with other people and extract their knowledge and get paid for it, we're going to expose how to break into the information business. We're going to teach a blueprint to extract your knowledge, create an agenda, deliver it through Skype or Zoom or in person or a community, how to fill it using marketing that we've perfected over the last 40 years, how to get paid, make an impact, and do it over and over again. We've literally been geeking out.
I
mean, listen, here's the thing. If you're listening right now and you go, I don't think that'd work for me, then I messed up today. Like, show up. I mean, if you know anything about Tony and I, our values and what we deliver, this is going to be epic. We're going to deliver massive value, but we're going to paint the picture and show you something you probably never thought about. Like, oh my God, I could be a part. And it's a wave, man. Like, it was hardly an industry 5 years ago. It's almost $400 million a day, going to $1 billion a day soon. Like, we're on the path, and those that jump ahead of this and have what Tony and I are going to share can dominate this industry. And the byproduct for Tony and I, the selfish reasons, this is how him and I make impact when we're gone.
That's awesome.
Right? I'm 50, Tony's going to be 60 next year. Like, I want to live to be 100, but I'm not going to be here forever. I would love my kids to go, wow, my dad and his buddy Tony Robbins helped fix education. They made self-education the new norm. But why not be a part of it and get paid? And listen, impact is my life right now. But the fact of the matter is, Tony and I making impact have also generated billions of dollars doing it. So we got to change lives and generate billions of dollars. Now it's the way the world has changed. That's available. That money can be spread out amongst so many people. We help lift the world and lift your income.
So I'm gonna let everyone know about this.
And you have a link. Everybody watching or listening right now, you can join this training for free. Go to wholesalinginc.com/KBB. So write that down right now. wholesalinginc.com/KBB. When you get to that page,
Business Blueprint, right?
That's right. Yes.
KBB.
Yes. And when you get to that page, you'll see a simple page. Register, input your information, and then immediately you'll get a training from Tony and I. We did this cool little training no one's ever seen. The only place you can see it is it's pre-event training.
Sure.
That's recorded. But then you'll get the time and the date, and I'm telling you, I think this is going to be bigger than we originally thought. I think we're going to have like 4 football stadium full of people.
It's 2 of the greats.
It's going to be pretty.
Of course it is.
It's going to be pretty. So what I'd suggest is, because It's not limited how many people can watch, but the chat is limited. So if
Yeah.
you want to ask Tony and I questions, or we're going to do Q&A at the end of the training, you're going to want to get there early and reserve your spot in the chat.
Rhino Nation, get on this thing. This is like your chance to be listening to that. I love everything about this. You can count that I'm going to be there because I want to make an impact, and I want to do this for more individuals. This is something I've always aspired to do, and a lot of it is just by watching you and seeing your true heart in this. This is, I've gotten chills, I don't know if you've noticed, multiple times during this because your true heart comes out during this interview. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time and doing this.
Well, keep up the good work, keep impacting lives, and if you're not crazy, you'll join us at wholesalinginc.com/KBB. Register, get all the details, and show up.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming down.
You're a stud. You're a rock star. Rhino Nation, this is an amazing episode. You're going to be wanting to listen to this over and over again. This guy's a genius. This guy's awesome. I love this guy. I love what him and Tony are going to be doing. Get on that webinar, and I'm excited.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.